Hello and Sunny Bonani. It is 11 after 8 on a Wednesday evening. Welcome to Saudi Arabia. Welcome to Tier 2 BrakeAway Racing League action. We are about to get into the 8th leg of this season's race. It is a sprint showcase followed by a full race, as is usually the case. Welcome to all the action. Welcome to a bright, starry night. Clear skies in Saudi Arabia. Thank you for joining us. We are about to get straight new to BrakeAway Racing League, and indeed brand new to Formula One, how a sprint race works. It is effectively a shorter format than would normally be the case, and in the BrakeAway Racing League, the sprint race starting order is according to an inverted version of how the current championship looks like. So in this current field that we have, the likes of Nebo and Kid K would be leading the sprint race because they have amassed the least amount of points up until this point in the championship. And the order in which the drivers finish the sprint race will determine how they will line up at the start of the feature race, which will be 25 laps around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. The sprint itself will have about 9 laps in total. So it is, well, not a traditional qualifying format as we are used to seeing. So Kid K and Nebo will be among the front runners in the sprint race, and they will hope to hang on to the leading spots because, of course, where they finish will determine where they start the feature race. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to BrakeAway Racing League, and we do hope that we will see a lot more of you in the coming weeks, months, years. But for now, we are in Jeddah. We have 4 lights, 5 lights. The only time South Africans look forward to the lights going out. Welcome to Jeddah. It looks like a full complement of soft tires as Nebo leads Kid K into turn 1. Kid K trying to fight off just Tendo, who manages to pip Kid K. Oh, Tendo goes spinning. Tendo is out in the first corner. Tendo was all the way down to P7 fighting for their life in that Ferrari. Looks like Nebo and Kid K are still in the leading pack. Over here, it looks like Nkwali has gained 3 places since the start of this race. Looking very good, very racy. The King Rapture, His Royal Highness in that Alpine, looking very, very good. Gaining 4 places since the start of this race. Man Ray has gained 2 places. Estexa also among the biggest losers in that early incident, featuring just Tendo, who has lost 6 positions. Tindo is all the way down at the back of the pack, was also caught out courtesy of that mess earlier on. Tindo with a broken wing will have to come into the pits early on here. It's a nightmare scenario for the super fast, super experienced Tindo fighting for Team Alpha. I beg your pardon, Aston Martin. Meanwhile, it is a 4-way fight for those top positions. Look at Nkwali go! Look at Nkwali go right past Kid K and banishing the Mercedes down to P3. Here comes the Prince of South Africa, looking very comfortable here in Jeddah and looking to go all-out attack versus Kid K, who is bouncing off the walls here through the third and final sector of this track. I can barely keep my breath trying to stay in touch and just to see exactly what is going on. Kid K wide on the exit of the final corner. The Prince of South Africa will not need a second invitation. It looks like the Williams driver is the only one to be running soft tires on this 9-lap showcase in this sprint race. Oh, he's going to outbrake himself. He's going to hit Kid K as the safety car comes out during the sprint race. But the question is, for whom was the safety car summoned? We've got 3 cars coming straight into the pits at the back here. Mshengu, Tindo, and just Tendo. One of those, perhaps. Yeah, that's Tenda who lost their wing. Might have been the reason behind this safety car that we're seeing just now. And considering we'll have a couple of laps behind the safety car, Tindo and Shengu wasting no time and bolting on a set of soft tires, which will stand them in good stead by the time the safety car comes in. It is also good news is the safety car for the Prince of South Africa, currently in P3 after that dramatic moment that we saw with Kid K earlier on. The Prince of South Africa will very much welcome the current safety car, which will save those soft compound tires, which otherwise might have come under huge pressure towards the end of this 9-lap sprint race showcase. It is Enebo leading the sprint race here, desperately needs points, does the veteran driver, formerly of the top tier, but now representing Williams alongside the Prince of South Africa, leading behind the safety car, and Quali will resume proceedings in P2. The Prince of South Africa is third. Kid K has not looked very comfortable at all since he started proceedings here. Currently fourth is Royal Highness, the King Rapture. In fifth place, Man Ray is sixth from the AlphaTauri of Estetza. And Shangu currently eighth on those brand spanking new softs, which will have a lot to say by the time this race is resumed. Shangu hits the brakes, making sure not to fall foul of the, of the restrictions under the safety car. Of course, you can't go speeding, as Man Ray sadly racks up a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That'll cost Man Ray dearly. You would have felt, oh man, that 5-second penalty, I may as well, or rather, I should not have come in. I should have just carried on those mediums. Man Ray, sadly, will have to contend with that 5-second time penalty, and in such a tight field, in such a short sprint race, he will come to rue that time penalty. Man Ray now making the way out of the pits, followed by the AlphaTauri of Estetza, who will apply all of the pressure on Man Ray. As things currently stand, Tindo leads the Tier 2 championship. Back in the pits again. Well, Tindo, second pit stop? What is going on? Must have damaged their wing on their outlap. Tindo leads the Tier 2 championship. As we wait for the safety car to make its way back in. That should have been the safety car coming in, but no. One more lap. Which means hopefully we will get 4 laps of proper racing. We're on board with just Tendo as the safety car is due to come in at the end of this lap, and I'll tell you what, it is all up to Nebo as Nkwali is still weaving left and right, trying to get some temperature into those tires. When will Nebo send it? We wait with bated breath, as does Nkwali in that P2 spot. Almost making contact, and Nkwali, was he caught napping? There goes Nebo. 6 tenths, soon to be 7 tenths. Will it be a full second come the end of these first sequences of corners? Maybe not. It is still Nebo. Meanwhile, the King Rapture goes on the attack versus the Prince of South Africa. Not quite getting that done, but Kid K has been nudged down to P5. Kid K struggling in these initial corners. Now going to come under pressure from the AlphaTauri of Espexa. On board we go with Kid K, who loses all the ground here through these initial sequences of corners. Sector 1, Kid K not having the greatest of time. There go the top 4. The King Rapture has gone on the attack versus the Prince of South Africa, who went off the track. Here comes Kid K. Behind him is the AlphaTauri on the attack. Side by side they go now. And towards the second sector. And Espexa gets that move done cleanly. And Kid K, reeling, having started so far ahead, is slipping and sliding down the order with each and every passing lap, each and every sector. Kid K not having the greatest of times, and now Espexa goes on the attack versus the Prince of South Africa, who was looking very racy at the beginning before the safety car was called, but right now is struggling to keep up with the top 3, which is currently comprised of Nebo, Nkwali, and His Royal Highness the King Rapture. This is, however, the AlphaTauri of Espexa, who is looking very, very comfortable in this fifth of a total 9 laps. On the attack is Espexa, will attack the inside, is going to go wheel to wheel with the Prince of South Africa, who will hold his line on the outside and not give an inch away to the chasing AlphaTauri. Meanwhile, Kid K is close enough to possibly have a say on this battle, but will that be enough come the end of this long straight? Time will tell. Kid K is going to have to bide his time. The King Rapture, meanwhile, is close enough to have a say versus Nkwali, who has a slight moment, a slight twitch of the rear on the exit of the second corner. Nkwali hunting down Nebo, who is about a second down the road, while trying to keep His Royal Highness the King Rapture at bay. Yellow flag on another portion of the track. We're not going to pay too much close attention to that as this battle is raging on and on. 3 laps to go, and Nkwali goes wide. Oh! His Royal Highness the King Rapture has to slam the brakes. You can hear the contact there between the Alpine and the rear of the Alfa Romeo as Nkwali somehow holds his ground. His Royal Highness the King Rapture has a slight snap there of the steering wheel, but manages to apply the pressure to still keep Nkwali guessing and possibly feeling the pressure. Oh, not the best of navigations there through the second sector for His Royal Highness the King Rapture, as the Prince of South Africa has retired from this race, bringing out another safety car. Drama in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia. The Prince of South Africa is out. Crashing out, bringing out another safety car. I'll tell you what, very frustratingly so, because this is such a short sprint race, and I would assume that it would only go around the track, hopefully, just the 1 lap. Well, the Prince of South Africa out of the sprint race. Remember, only the top 8 drivers earn points in a sprint. So right now, Man Ray would be the last to claim that single solitary point, mired down in P8 as the Mercedes driver. The order, and Nebo still leading, still unchallenged, on the brink, possibly, of starting in pole position. The Prince of South Africa, in the comments section, we do commiserate with you there. The first casualty of this circuit. Not a fan, is the Prince of South Africa, of this track, even though it was looking fairly racy from the onboards that we were watching in the battles that the Prince of South Africa was involved in. And Nebo leading this race in quali, currently second. His Royal Highness the King Rapture is third. Espexa, fourth. Kid K, struggling since the start of proceedings tonight, is currently fifth. Mshangu, sixth. Tendo is currently seventh. Work to do for the veteran driver. Man Ray is eighth. And just Tendo is just ninth. Nine drivers remaining. 9 laps in total for the sprint race showcase. Fingers crossed we shall not see the safety car between now and the end of tonight's feature race. Capoza has just joined the action, just joined the lobby. This is the second safety car we have seen today, Bongani, Debo, Crocodile, and Gwenya. And as we say that, the safety car comes back because we cannot have the final 2 laps behind the safety car. So from here on out, fingers crossed, we shall not see that green Aston Martin FIA liveried safety car is made its way around the final corner and is now safely tucked in the pit lane. And Nebo, the ball is in your court. And Nebo, when will he send it? Still weaving left and right. Still keeping the chasing pack guessing. Will be on board with His Royal Highness the King Rapture as Nebo puts the pedal to the metal in the run down towards turn number 1. There goes Nkwali on the attack. Side by side they go. Nkwali on the inside. Nkwali possibly into the lead of this race. No! And Nebo slams the door shut as Nkwali is now under pressure from His Royal Highness the King Rapture. Estexa is attacking from P4, but His Royal Highness the King Rapture makes contact with the wall, trying not to make sure that he does not crash. Within quality, meanwhile, it looks like it's going to be very, very close in these final 2 laps to conclude this sprint race. The Prince of South Africa watches on from the paddock, from the garage, as this action keeps on hotting up. Here comes Estexa now on the attack versus His Royal Highness the King Rapture, was not quite close enough to capitalize on the mistake that the LP made. Meanwhile, Estexa is keeping it within 0.4 of a second, possibly within 0.3. He's down to about 2.5 tenths at this particular point in time. But who will get the braking zones inch perfect? Oh, and Quali goes off the racing line. And Quali almost making contact. No, it's the King Rapture who almost makes contact with the wall, but he's through with the King Rapture as they go wheel to wheel now through the second sector. Here comes Quali trying to defend his place. Oh, but the King Rapture holds on and Quali goes off the track. Meanwhile, Estexa has a golden opportunity. Wheel to wheel they go. They almost make contact down these walls, which are all so close together. Estexa is through. Estexa is on the podium in the sprint race, and then Quali is going to fight back for his life into the braking zone for the final corner. And Quali gets the inside line and manages to nudge the AlphaTauri towards the outside. Estexa is going to have to fight it back here using all the battery power. The King Rapture is in the lead of the sprint race. Estexa has gone through, and Nebo now fighting back versus His Royal Highness the King Rapture. It's all up and popping in the final lap of this race, which has just begun. The King Rapture is in the lead of the sprint race, having started oh so far back. He has shown his class, shown his quality, and now is hanging on to the lead and the possible win of this sprint race. Man, oh man, oh man, there goes the King Rapture, now a full second ahead of the veteran and Nebo. Meanwhile, Estexa is on the attack from the vantage point of P3, and Quali huffed and puffed, but he could not hang on to those podium places. Estexa is third and Quali now fourth. Tindo has just overcome Mshengu, currently running in P5 as the veteran Aston Martin driver. Mshengu not seemingly having as much fun around here as he would in other tracks. Now fighting from that P6 spot. Just Tendo is seventh, and Kid K is in that eighth and final point spot. But, well, he better watch his back, because on the attack is Man Ray. And he can see both Kid K and Just Tendo within his sights, in his crosshairs of the Mercedes driver wielding. This time, of course, the W14. Just Tendo was flashing. Kid K will smell blood, will smell a golden opportunity. Oh, Man Ray! Golden opportunity, but now slams the brakes and burns those tires. Oh, perhaps was thinking that he was going to outbrake himself. Meanwhile, in the battle for the podium places, Nebo had a huge moment. Oh, Tindo crashes into the slow-moving Nebo, and the King Rapture will come across the line to win the sprint race in Saudi Arabia. Estexa, P2, take a bow. AlphaTauri and Quali is back in the podium places. That huge moment cost him Nebo a podium. Tindo will finish in P4, and Nebo P5, and Shengu P6, Tendo 7th, Kid K and Man Ray round up your field over here, and that will be the starting order in the feature race, which is coming up in just a few minutes. A breathless final 2 laps. More of the same, please, for the feature race. We do hope that we can see a lot more of all these drivers. King Rapture, what a race. 8 additional points to their championship. Will start the feature race in the lead of the Grand Prix, in pole position. Estexa will start the feature race in P2 and Quali 3rd. Tendo will start in 4th, and Nebo will start in P5, and Shengu 6th, just Tendo 7th. Kid K, not having fun around here, will start in 8th. Man Ray and the Prince of South Africa rounding off those 9th and 10th spot. Kaposa is in the lobby, has joined the action to begin the feature race in P11. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to BrakeAway Racing League. Thank you for choosing Tier 2 BrakeAway Racing League action. Remember to like the stream and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. I do see a few of you in this lobby, or rather in this stream. So please do make sure you like the stream. It does help our prospects as far as YouTube is concerned. Sequay is in the comments section, as is Bongani, Debo, Crocodile, and Gwenya, the Prince of South Africa, now presumably all the way back in their car, wasting no time and getting that helmet on and getting the game face on as well. Super focused will the Prince of South Africa be to make sure that he does not meet the same misfortune as he did in the sprint race. Not a fan of this track as the Prince of South Africa, but now has a chance to atone. Jeddah Sprint is interesting, says Tendo in the comment section. Absolutely. As we saw those final 2 laps, we do hope for more of the same. Hopefully no safety cars in the feature race proper. But knowing this track, it is very punishing with these walls being, so perilous. Drivers are bound to make contact from time to time, lose a wing, and at the very worst, lose the car altogether. Welcome to Jeddah. Welcome to the feature race. The King Rapture will set us off versus Estexa in the rush towards turn number 1. It's looking like a clean navigation of the first corner. We will hope so. Oh, there's a Williams going off track. That is a Neville who's going to slip and slide down the order as the King Rapture and Quali get us going. It's looking like a clean navigation of the first couple of corners. At the very least, Tindo has lost 2 places. Not the best of starts for the veteran Tier 2 driver, of course, looking to get all the way back to the top tier. Tindo under duress. Kaposa has gained 4 places since coming in to the sprint race action. Meanwhile, Nkwali has overtaken Estexa at the front. Oh, Tindo goes wide. Here comes Kaposa. They almost make contact, but Kaposa slammed the brakes so as to not risk a possible wing loss at the very least so early in this race. He has gained 4 places as Kaposa, looking very, very good at the start of this race. And Nebo having the fight of his life versus the likes of Nkwali, and it looks like the Ferrari of Justendo wants to join the action early on. Oh, what kind of a racing line was that? Tendo outbraking himself, goes completely off the line, and Kaposa takes advantage. Kid K not having the best of time. Oh, there's a huge incident. It's Mshengu who's made contact. Somebody's lost the car. Kid K, Man Ray, huge moment of contact, also involving Mshengu in the 3rd sector of this track, and the virtual safety car. Is it a full safety car? It's a current VSC. I see a yellow dot there. We may yet have a full safety car. Man, oh man, oh man. What is going on? Man Ray, Kid K, Mshengu, huge moment, debris all over that 3rd sector. And it's a virtual safety car, but I'll tell you what, looks like a full safety car in my books. The King Rapture will follow the lead once again of the safety car early on at the end of the first lap. It was looking oh so close between Tindo and Mshengu and the 2 Mercedes, who now have to double stack. Man Ray, being the one at a disadvantage at this point, will fit, it seems, a set of hard tires. It looks like Man Ray had to serve a time penalty as well for that huge collision, and bolts on a set of hard tires as well as a brand new wing. How much damage, I wonder, did Man Ray take to the car as far as the side pods and that rear wing are concerned? Well, he's still running, which is what he will have been hoping for at the very least. But it is a nightmare scenario for Man Ray. Let's take a look at the tire compound choices. Of course, the four drivers involved in that huge incident, including Tindo. Now, bolting on a set of hard tires, it's a long race, and even those hards would struggle, I think, come the end of this 25 laps around this circuit. Work to do for each of them. Tindo, Msengu, Kid K, and Man Ray at the back of the pack. The King Rapture went aggressive as far as tire choice is concerned. Started on the softs. Opted to stay out behind the safety car. And Quali started on the mediums, as did the AlphaTauri behind him. Nebo also went aggressive early on. Kaboza now up to 5th, having started at the back of this 11-driver field. Just Tendo is 6th. Work to do for Just Tendo. Also, with the aggressive initial tire strategy on those softs, we then have the Prince of South Africa, who crashed out of the sprint race, but survived the carnage at the back of this field. Now currently running in that 7th spot. It is a chance for atonement, a chance for redemption, a chance for a decent point haul for the Prince of South Africa. Can it be done? Three laps gone, 2 of them behind the safety car. A lot of racing still to come. There it is, folks. Race control gives the word that the safety car is in at the end of this lap. Such a treacherous track, we can hope, but well, I don't know if chances might be slim that we won't get another safety car between now and the end of the proceedings. But we can only hope, folks, as we get that beautiful shot, overhead shot of the final corner of this oh so sensationally fast circuit. The safety car is in where it belongs. The King Rapture will set us off. Will he play the same type of games that Nebo did while leading the sprint race? Time will tell. On board we will go with the person with the best vantage point of the battle to lead this race. The King Rapture and Nkwali set us off to begin the 4th lap of a total 25 around the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Here they come now. King Rapture and Nkwali in formation. No early challenges. And Nebo navigates the first 2 corners cleanly, as does Kaboza on the hunt on the track for what could be a sensational push for the top places come the end of this race. Long way still to go as just Tendo is struggling through these initial corners. Oh, Tendo almost makes contact with the wall. Tendo is really slowing down the chasing pack. The Prince of South Africa dares not make contact, and as Tendo struggles, the Prince of South Africa bides their time, looking to go for a cleaner overtake at a not so treacherous part of the track. Oh, Tendo goes clean through on the Prince of South Africa, now attacking just Tendo on the inside, and Tendo shows all that experience for a sensational move. A double overtake in the space of a single sector. Tendo is rushing, trying to get on with the business of the day. Oh, as these two cars, Mshengu might have made contact. Oh no, the Prince of South Africa has lost a wing. It's a yellow flag, and just Tendo goes spinning back into the track, and it's another safety car. Tendo, the Prince of South Africa, major collision, as you saw. Prince of South Africa still running, as we can barely keep up with all of this action. The Prince of South Africa is now going to have to go all the way around, as just Tendo was really struggling there through the first sector. Man, oh man, oh man. Beast Max, it's good to have you. We'll see you in the comment section. As Bongani Debo Crocodile responds. Well, Beast Max, I believe you can get in touch with some of the team members via social media. If you check our About page, I believe those details should be there, and they would be able to assist you into possibly joining. Just a word, Beast Max, it is a PlayStation League, so fingers crossed that you are also gaming on that platform. Kaboza comes into the pits, perhaps content to take these hard tires from here all the way through towards the end. I want to hear your thoughts. Is Kaboza playing a strategic game in the sense that he possibly expects another safety car before now and the end of proceedings, which would then make his prospects, I suppose, which would then give him, or see him keep track position when the other contenders come into the pits for a later safety car. Is that the game that Kaboza is playing? Do you agree, considering the kind of pace that Kaboza had shown? Do you agree with this early switch towards the hard tires? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Oh, Beastmax, that would have been fantastic to see you racing among these guys. Yeah, it is a pity in that sense. But if you are part of another racing league, I'd love to well, follow on and see you racing and doing your thing. So yeah, let me know if you are part of another racing league that we can always keep our eye on. Kaboza now 8th, Mshengu 9th. The Prince of South Africa is 10th on that brand new wing. Tendo on those hards, and a wing swap after that huge dramatic moment. Now at the back of the pack, His Royal Highness the King Rapture leads this race from Espexa, and in quali, two drivers, the Alfa Romeo and the Alfa Tauri, who have been fighting tooth and nail since the start of tonight's proceedings, and Neville there and thereabouts. None of the two soft tire runners in the top four. None of them opting to pit despite the early drama bringing out the safety car. So we're going to have to see how they fare. Tindo is now 5th after all that drama. Man Ray and Kid K, who had their lap 1 incident, are now up to P6 and 7 respectively. Kaboza 8th. Oh no, Tindo. Rookie error, 5-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags under the safety car. He will be kicking himself for that. Fingers crossed, the safety car, well, comes in at the end of this lap. And as I say that, race control says, yes, that will be the case. 6 laps gone of a total 25. Tindo, the only driver, currently with a time penalty hanging over his head. We'll have to serve it if and when he comes into the pits. Otherwise, the time penalty will be applied to his race finishing time, which may have major implications depending on how close he is to his competitor. Look at that. Espexa now in that P2 spot, giving no breathing room whatsoever to His Royal Highness the King Rapture. We saw the way in quality attacked last time out. Now it is the turn of the Alpha Tauri driver, who absolutely sends it while coming under immediate pressure from the Alfa Romeo of Inquali, who will have the inside line into turn number 1, and Inquali snatches P2 back from Espexa through turns 1 and 2. It is beautiful stuff by the Alfa Romeo driver. Meanwhile, Espexa is under duress, under pressure from Ennebo, who himself has the specter of Tindo to contend with. Tindo in that P5 spot, time penalty aside, he is on a heck of a mission, about 0.2 of a second behind Ennebo, who is now going to have to hold his nerve, bide his time to try and escape the clutches of the Aston Martin superstar. Yellow flag behind these guys. It looks like just Tendo, who might have been struggling, but we're going to pay close attention instead to the top 4 guys, as Ennebo looks to make sure that Tindo does not get a sniff of that possible P4 spot. Tindo on the hunt, applying pressure, but as I say that, there go the top 3. Much more pace through these slaloming corners here in the Jeddah Corniche circuit. Tindo tries he might. Will he be close enough? It's looking very, very racy at this particular point in time. And don't you count out Man Ray behind Tindo, who is on the attack. Man Ray also being attacked by Composer himself. Oh, and Level goes wide. Will Tindo make contact? They almost do, but Tindo drives it as wide as he possibly can. They almost made terminal contact there, going oh so fast. Here comes Man Ray joining the action to make it a 3-way fight for P4. But Man Ray looks to be circumspect and biding his time as the level goes wide. Oh, somebody has ghosted out, and it looks like Man Ray's going to lose out to those positions. He goes tumbling down to P7, and through goes Composer. Now up to P6, and the Red Bull superstar is on the attack, now hunting down Ennebo in towards turn number 1. Composer has overtaken Man Ray. Composer is on the attack versus Ennebo, and it looks like at the lead of the race, His Royal Highness the King Raptor has a 2.3 second buffer to the chasing pack. Beautiful stuff by the Alpine driver over there. Composer looking to apply the pressure versus Ennebo. Thankfully, no more safety cars. Fingers crossed we shall not see that safety car again. 8 laps gone. Still so much racing to go, as it looks like Tindo is struggling here through Sector 1. He's gone off track, and Ennebo and Composer are inching closer and closer to the back of the Aston Martin. Composer breaks later than the Williams ahead of him, and looks to get the slightest, the tiniest margin to peak on either side of the Williams ahead. Composer biding his time and looking to take advantage of any mistake. Oh, Composer makes contact seemingly with Ennebo, but it might have been that the Williams driver was glitching there, but it caused Composer to really, rethink his line completely. And Quali and Tindo are having an unmighty tussle over here, and Tindo has gone through on the Alfa Romeo of Inquali, who now will have to fight off Composer and Ennebo over here. Look at that, they're both on the attack, but Inquali is gonna look to keep both the Williams and the Red Bull at bay. Now in towards the final corner. Here they come. It is a 3-way, 4-way fight courtesy of Man Ray, who has joined the fray. Through goes Inquali here, and Composer is also going to give it an almighty go. And then Ennebo has really got his work cut out for him. Will they make contact with Composer? They do make a little bit of contact, but Man Ray is looking to take advantage over here. 9 laps gone. So much racing action yet to come. Who can hold their nerve and keep their line and keep it clean, inch perfect through this challenging first sector. Man Ray can see those cars, the rears of the Williams. Twitching as Ennebo and Composer and Inquali are having a huge scuffle over here. Oh, Inquali is not going down without a fight. It's Wednesday action night. Hangs it on the outside, does Inquali, but Composer, who was trying to apply the pressure on the Alfa Romeo, compromised his exit, giving Inquali enough room to hang on to the coattails of that Red Bull. But as I say that, Composer gallops on ahead, and here comes a Nebo! Side by side versus the Alfa Romeo they go! And will they make contact? No, they don't! It's so close! It's beautifully, sensationally close! But they managed to keep their nerve and make sure that they do not make contact, which would, of course, sprinkle more than its fair share of drama. And Quali is not going down the line and fight. His Royal Highness the King Rapture is slipping and tumbling a little bit further ahead of these guys. But it looks like Quali's going to fight Ngabo on the inside into the final turn. They almost made wheel-to-wheel contact, and Kid K is out. Kid K is the latest retiree out of this race. It is a crash between teammates. Man Ray gets penalized for the incident that took Kid K out. And it's another safety car. Tindo has been disqualified for ignoring the yellow flag. What is going on? Tindo and Eskexa seemingly disqualified for ignoring yellow flag. How did that happen? What is going on? That makes 3 drivers out, leaving His Royal Highness the King Rapture to reclaim the lead of this race. But with all of that drama, the Prince of South Africa, Man Ray, M. Shangu, and Just Tendo are the latest drivers to come into the pits. Softs for Tendo. M. Shangu has just exited the pits on a used set of hards, which would be 3 laps old at this particular point in time. What in the world went on there with the disqualification of Eskexa and Tindo, who were adjudged to be speeding, or rather ignoring yellow flags? Drama, high drama in Saudi Arabia in this 8th race of the BrakeAway Racing League season, in our 2nd tier here. Well, let's take stock. His Royal Highness the King Rapture, surprisingly, still out on those same set of softs that he started the race with. 9 laps old. Kapoza, who pitted earlier on. We did speculate whether or not it was a roll of the dice for Kapoza, knowing or perhaps expecting the safety car that we are now seeing. Currently 2nd on those hard tires, knowing, of course, that the King Rapture will have to pit. And Quali is 3rd, and Nebo is 4th. The Prince of South Africa running in 5th place. Man Ray is 6th. Mshengu 7th, and Just Tendo rounds off the rest of the field. High drama in Saudi Arabia. Kid K barely believing what happened with Man Ray. Teammates clashing. Terminally so for Kid K. We do commiserate with them, of course. His Royal Highness the King Rapture relents and finally comes into the pits. It's a set of mediums for them. Kapoza bolts on a used set of mediums. Those mediums that Kapoza has just opted for, 4 laps old. So these 2 pacey prospects, Kapoza, King Rapture, will have to fight their way back into the reckoning from P7 and 8 respectively. And Quali leads the race from Ngebo and the Prince of South Africa. It's a Williams 2-3 out here in Saudi Arabia. What a day for the historic British team, being flanked on either side, if you will, sandwiched between race leading Quali and P4 running Man Ray, who has beef with his teammates, among other people. Man Ray, sadly, was dragged into that huge incident early on with Mshengu and Just Tendo. Lived to fight another day. Did Man Ray. Still out here in P4. Work to do. Mshengu 5th. Just Tendo 6th. King Rapture is 7th, and Kapoza is 8th. Well, Tindo, according to what we could see, it was for ignoring yellow flags, it said. And there was another ignoring yellow flags earlier on, out of the previous safety car. So I don't know if it was a case of twice bitten for the DSQ. Those of you who are more familiar will please have to advise on that one. As race control gives the word that the safety car is in at the end of this lap. Nkwali and Nebo, Prince of South Africa, will lead us back as the racing action will resume. 11 laps gone of a total 25. Oof. Was that Kaboza who came to a complete standstill, trying not to crash into their competitors? Now it is Nkwali's turn to get us back underway. Throughout the sprint, throughout the FISA race, Nkwali had to bide their time and make sure that he was not beaten and blitzed. This time he sends it early on. Did he catch Neville off guard? Perhaps. The Prince of South Africa, not the best of restarts. Now daylight between themselves and their teammate in Lebo. And as Man Ray attacks the Prince of South Africa from the outside in the run towards turn number 1, who will be brave on the brakes? Man Ray went the long way around, and a slight lockup over there as he now tries to gather himself back together. Man Ray now in P4. M. Shengu is hunting down the Mercedes driver as he looks to attack the Prince of South Africa. Does Man Ray work to do for the Mercedes driver? Meanwhile, Kapoza is hunting down King Rapture. Oh, Tendo is finally crashed out. Oh, Tendo has struggled pretty much since the start of proceedings. We saw those huge incidents that Tendo was involved in, but now Tendo is out, and it's another safety car. Man, oh man. Halfway point of the race, safety car after safety car. Do hope that we will not get another one because when these drivers have been absolutely pushing, it has been nothing short of sensational. Kaboza is going to get rid of these used mediums. And it's going to be soft tires as he tries to fight his way back up the order. What will this be? Take 4. Let's take a closer look. We're back racing, hopefully properly, between now and the end of this race. In quali and Nebo, the Prince of South Africa will get us back underway in Saudi Arabia. A diminished field in quali sends it. Tries to catch Nebo off guard, not quite perhaps the way that he would have wanted, but will still go into the first couple of corners in control of this race. And Nebo information. Oh, and Quali has a slight twitch that'll bring the Williams driver into contention here if he's not careful. And Nebo will have seen that mistake, having watched very, very closely from the vantage point of a P2. And Quali feeling the pressure. Cold, hard tires versus mediums, which are also cold, of course. But relatively speaking, it is advantage of Nebo at this early phase of the restart. And Nebo goes on the attack on the inside. But Quali hangs it on the outside line, but manages to keep momentum, keep P2, keep P1, I beg your pardon, keep the lead of this race. It is now Quali from Nebo from Manray in the top 3 spots as things currently stand. On the attack is His Royal Highness, the King Raptor, in that 4th spot. Behind them, of course, is the Prince of South Africa and the onrushing Kaboza on a fresh set of stock compound tires, which will have a lot to say in these initial laps at the restart of this race. The King Rapture is setting purple sectors here. Quickest through the 2nd sector was the King Rapture as the Prince of South Africa struggles to keep pace. Meanwhile, Nebo is going for it now into the final corner. But Quali manages to hang on and keep that Williams at bay now through the final corner. Oh no, it's a huge moment! It's Mshengo into the wall through the final corner! And the Alfa Romeo is out, bringing out a yellow flag. Kaboza rolls the dice, hoping for another safety car. Will it come out? No, it shall not. Kaboza thought that it was another guaranteed safety car, perhaps. Or is that a wing change? Yes, it is a wing change. Perhaps Mshengo's unfortunate moment was a result of contact with none other than Kaboza, who fits on another set of soft tires now to take himself towards the final couple of laps of this race. And Quali still in control of this race. But for how long? Because Nebo is still not lifting an inch as far as pressure is concerned. On board we go with the Williams driver. Now in that P2 spot, less than half a second to the race leader. 3 points at this point by now. You just have to keep it on track. Do not crash, said Stage Figure of Speech in the comment section. All you need do is cross the line at this particular point. And Kaboza on those brand new stock tires will have will have that fastest lap at the top of his mind before all is said and done. And Nebo seemingly very confident, but not quite getting that line right. Goes completely off the track there and will bring himself under all the pressure by none other than Manray and His Royal Highness the King Raptor. All of a sudden, towards lap number 17, it's a 4-way fight for the race lead. Oh, King Raptor later on the brakes, braver on the brakes, and now through on Manray up to P3. Drama in this race as DRS has been enabled at this particular point in time. Estelo also in the comment section, Estexa, noting that it was a strange DSQ as far as they were concerned. Yeah, hopefully. Oh no, what was that? It was Nebo sending it straight into the wall! Unchallenged, and the pressure told. He sent it straight into the wall, did the Williams of Nebo, and now has to fight from P5, soon possibly to be P6. Well, what was that? And Quali, and now King Rapture, the protagonists for the race win at this point in time. Just a second separating in quali from His Royal Highness the King Rapture. Man Ray, 1 point. Oh no, that was the King Rapture getting acquainted with the wall. Man Ray, 1.2 seconds behind. Is that a lost wing for King Rapture? Yes, it is. Lap number 17, but still, look at the amount of pace that King Rapture has managed to maintain. You know, for a second I thought Rapture was going to roll the dice and run wingless. And Neville is now in the pits, so those two will resume their battle. The Williams and the Alpine. Oh, it's a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane for the Williams driver. And here they come now out of the pits. Caboza, rather Nebo, fits that brand set of softs for the final 7 or so laps of this race. In quali, on those hards, still in control, in command of this race, leading from Man Ray, the gap about 2.8 seconds. Prince of South Africa versus Man Ray is the closest battle to watch. On board we go with the Williams driver, teammate and Nebo, all the way at the back of his 6th driver field remaining. So many casualties of this race, the likes of Just Tendo, the likes of Kid K, and most recently M. Shengu. Mistake costing the Prince of South Africa dearly there, was within a touching distance, but now that gap 1.4 seconds. So work to do for the Williams driver. It's a possible podium after a nightmare sprint race. Prince of South Africa will, well, he will take that and run with it. Caboza sets the fastest lap of the race. Perhaps expectedly so on those brand spanking soft tires. So late in the race with the fuel load being, of course, much, much lighter, having burned off for the majority of this race. But still, well, these safety cars, most of these drivers wouldn't be carrying as much fuel as they would have expected. Or rather, would be carrying more fuel than they would have expected had it been an uninterrupted showcase. Back on board with the Prince of South Africa versus Man Ray. Now back within a second, Man Ray having lost ground to the race leading in quali. None of the top three have time penalties to contend with, so it is an all-out battle of wit, of pace, of nerve in these final 6 laps that we are watching now. Man Ray, in the end of that second sector, not as comfortable as the Prince of South Africa, seemingly. On the outside goes the Williams superstar, and it is now up to P2 on a track that the Prince of South Africa does not enjoy at all. He is now grinning from ear to ear underneath that helmet as he overtakes the Mercedes of Man Ray. And their tire age is fairly similar, 10-lap-old mediums for the Prince of South Africa versus 11 laps for Man Ray. So it is a battle of all-out pace here. And the Prince of South Africa, perhaps feeling confident now, having chased down and overtaken the Mercedes driver. How much would he be able to claw back in the battle for the lead or the win of this race? 5 laps to go. The Prince of South Africa, having had a nightmare sprint, will be singing a different tune about this racetrack, says Punkani Thibault Crocodile in the comment section. Oh no! We spoke too soon! The Prince of South Africa, perhaps overconfident. Oh, too hard on the throttle. Made acquaintance with the walls and lost their wing. The Prince of South Africa had a golden opportunity to do something special here, but an unforced error sees him possibly relinquishing P2, definitely relinquishing P2, because Man Ray will not need a second invitation to go clean through on the Williams driver. And now, with so little racing to go, Kaboza will have possibly been informed of what had happened to the Prince of South Africa and will have the bit between his teeth and will go absolutely flying in the hope of catching up to the Prince of South Africa, who will, of course, come into the pits. Will they? Will they? No! The Prince of South Africa rolls the dice. He says, I want to hang on to this podium spot. Noma Kajani, is it possible? Time will tell. Kaboza is on the hunt as Peace, the Nucho, says, well, not smiling anymore is the Prince of South Africa now, is he? Oh man, oh man, oh man. The King Rapture, His Royal Highness, gets a time penalty. From tears of joy to tears of sorrow, says Bangani Debo Crocodile in the comment section. Work to do now for the Prince of South Africa, who will now hope against all hope that Kaboza does not catch up. But I tell you what, perhaps that is futile, because Kaboza, with each and every corner, is really trimming that gap, which is now less than 3 seconds. And there you go. From the vantage point of that speedy Red Bull, he can now see the Prince of South Africa, and it will be seemingly a podium for Kaboza. The Prince of South Africa reeling, struggling, now overtaken in the 21st lap of the race here in Saudi Arabia. And Kaboza will leave the Williams driver in the dust. Falls further and further behind as the Prince of South Africa now out of sight. Kaboza clean through the final stages of this race. And Quali, what a day it would be if he manages to keep it clean between now and the end of this race. And Quali is going to come now within touching distance. He can feel what would be a memorable race win in a dramatic race. Must pit and he'll finish P5, otherwise P6, says I beg your pardon, Bangani Debo Crocodile in the comment section, speaking about the Prince of South Africa, who, has been overtaken by their teammate. Wing change, tire change, soft tires, and there goes the Prince of South Africa. Daylight now between themselves and their teammate, 12.9 seconds. What happened to the Prince of South Africa? You retired out? Don't tell me you retired out on track. Or did he crash on the exit? Well, that leaves just 5 drivers who will cross the line, hopefully, and finish this race in Saudi Arabia. Drama. Pandemonium. Well. And Neville in P5 and Quali still in the lead of this race, but at the final stages, I hate this track, says the Prince of South Africa. Well, perhaps he crashed out on the exit of the pit lane. Oh, Prince of South Africa had a possible race victory in his sights, but at the death, really crashing out. And we're on board now with the race leader, who has been nothing short of sensational today. But in the final stages of this race, it seems Quali is really struggling out here. And Man Ray inching closer and closer to the back of the race-leading Alfa Romeo. Will Man Ray give us a show in the final 2 laps of this race? I'll tell you what, he's making a proper show of it. Man Ray driving with confidence. He can see that gap trimming down further and further, inching closer and closer. And right there in the distance is the Alfa Romeo of Quali. Man Ray on the brink of something special here at the death of this 8th race of the season. in Saudi Arabia. Could it be? Could it be? Man Ray inching closer and closer at a rate of knots, but don't you forget Kaboza, who also has the Mercedes in his sights. This is the penultimate lap. How much pace, how much performance do each of Man Ray and Kaboza have in the pocket, in the bag, to be able to mount a challenge here at the sharp end of this very, very small field? Well, Kaboza seems to be having much better luck, much better performance relative to Man Ray. That gap was similar, but now it is now a second and a half, less than a second and a half, that Kaboza is to Man Ray, who seems to have turned his attention from the race win to now possibly defending P2. Because here comes Kaboza towards the end of the penultimate lap. As you can see, that yellow bar in the bottom of Kaboza's steering wheel is an indication of how much battery power is remaining. Kaboza, pedal to the metal, throttle to the floor, in this third and final sector of this track, is now on the brink of DRS. Remember, when it's less than a second, then he will have advantage of DRS. He can see that red light flashing from Kaboza as he deploys his own battery power now to be able to cross the DRS detection point of the main straight to possibly take advantage of Man Ray. Kaboza at the depth. The Red Bull superstar started this race at the back of this pack, but now he is on the hunt, on the attack, and now up to P2 as they have begun the final lap of this race. How much performance does Kaboza have in the bag? Can he make it a last to first challenge again as he shows his class out here in Saudi Arabia for what would be a sensational result out here in the 8th race of the season? The championship leading Kaboza is on the hunt now with 2.3 seconds, 2.2, 2.1 being the gauntlet laid down by Nkwali. Nkwali, who has been nothing short of sensational since the start of tonight's proceedings, now has to hang on for dear life. 1.9 seconds. He is feeling the pressure as Nkwali. His palms are sweaty, knees weak. What's the rest of the lyric? Arms are ready to drop purple sectors, but can he? Because Kaboza is less than a second and a half behind the Alfa Romeo driver, who now is just hoping for an inch-perfect navigation of Sector 3 here to be able to make it a memorable race win. The heart is pounding as the onrushing Kaboza sends it absolutely screaming towards the rear of the Alfa Romeo. 25 laps gone, 15 laps on hard tires. It is going to be Nkwali for one of the most memorable races of his BrakeAway Racing League career. Crosses the line and wins in Saudi Arabia. Kaboza finishes on the podium, and Man Ray, who put on a stout fight, crosses the line P3. A breathless end in Saudi Arabia. His Royal Highness the King Rapture, wingless wonder, in that P4 spot, and Nebo will look to overcome the King Rapture, but might not have enough, having tried his absolute best. Nice try, Kaboza, says the Nucho. It is going to be P5 for Nebo out here, and driver of the day, Kaboza, as voted by the game. Man, oh man, oh man, my inverter is on its last legs here, folks. I don't know if I would be able to last the duration of this post-race. Yeah, I may have to dip out over here, but what a sensational 8th leg of the BrakeAway Racing League season this has been. And Nkwali wins in Saudi Arabia. Kaboza and Man Ray making up those podium places. Sensationally dramatic stuff in Tier 2. Remember, tomorrow, Tier 1 action, either 7:30 Central African Time or 8 p.m. Thank you for joining us on BrakeAway Racing League.